that aesthetic, that game aesthetic that we're looking for. So is that possible?
That interactivity and the tools for interactivity that are available through like a gaming console that maybe are a little more obscure outside of that scope.
Have you had any? Have you got motion capture? Have you had any experience with that?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you are able to take the class. I'd probably suggest it. Because that kind of, it didn't really kind of link, because I come from a motion media background. So, I see video in video games, but I'm very much like, like how you are, and how does it look there? So I think motion graphics kind of gave me a sort of better idea, but still I'm kind of even in processing now and dealing with gaming, so I'm just like, I don't know things. Maybe you could help me with that afterwards.
Certainly.
Classic that way, the fundamental questions, in addition to poetry, would be, what does the player do? What is the intentionality that we were talking about last week? What type of experience do you want to have for the player? Asking what is a very user experience, user-centric, play-centric, focus on the player, what the experience of the player is, and getting into active consciousness, and looking to just raise the heartbeat or just have a good time. What are the goals that we're looking for? But then, talking on what Cynthia said, be able to go and improve those, so small gains in that class or not enough to hackathon or what? That we have some really without having to take all the classes, for someone like Cynthia, who comes from a strong art background and wants to work with these technologies but doesn't have the time to go take, all of the game classes and isn't necessarily interested in all of them, but has something to contribute that could be very valuable. So that's
I'd always dreamt that this program would be more like cross-curriculum sort of connecting. That I could actually end up on one of the other teams and be more, with my strength. That's why I like the way this particular class was laid out, because I'm working with people that now have those other disciplines, down, like aerial, for game design, and actually can play a part in creating what that looks like.
Yeah. Definitely that's important and interesting input on how retail should be looking in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like as a musician, I've been a musician for 10 years, and just coming here, I feel like there's not enough emphasis on composition. I mean, I understand there is a music school within the arts community, and that split has probably kind of, made it kind of unclear, well, should we, maybe, expose people to composition or music theory, or is it just too much, or are there not enough individuals that have a background in that? But I would like an interdisciplinary kind of, track into, for like, oh, you're a musician, and what if you want to make music for games? I mean, games have all kinds of music, If it's like a Western game, you probably have some type of, some type of design that includes a guitar and maybe, some drums or, of course, the horse is going to be I think, and I mean, that's kind of the only way I got to really practice audio in my undergraduate degree, was kind of through video and through that kind of stuff. So, me as an artist, I'm just like really, really searching for that. And I mean, I have a home studio at home, and, there's just not enough time. It's on my back.
Actually, because this issue already came out several times. What are the relationships between sound design program here and the music school?
I think there should be one if there a strong one.
Yeah, no, I recall Scott talking about that.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that we are facing that
contradiction. So before, when we were in the School of Arts and Humanities and the music department was in the same school, it was already a difficulty. Okay, and so some of the reasons why it was a difficulty is that people like me do not have a degree in music. So people like me cannot teach music on USI labeled classes. I do not have the credentials to do it. Okay, so I have to rely on colleagues with the proper credentials to teach music content. Okay, and then when you say that, okay, it sounds fine, but the problem is no one teaching music in this school will listen to Frank before and start teaching music in a different way, or start teaching music for something
I
else.
think it's typically the problem with
Okay.
cross-disciplinary need for certain.
Well, because cross-disciplinary means disciplines fighting against each other. Okay, so and people in music saying, you know what, sound design is just a subset of music. So you listen to me and I teach music and you do the recording. Okay, you are the technician.
I think
Okay.
it's just the opposite.
Well, but then
that's
that's the difficulty of cross-disciplinary programs. So now we have someone with a degree in music, which is Scott, and I'm saying that, but at the same time, but he has the credentials to teach music. Okay. But the problem is that we will not go anywhere with only one person teaching music. Okay, we need to hire new faculty members. We need to be more than two. Okay, and that kind of decision is not a decision that I will be making. Okay, and I'm not sure that no one in that school will decide that we need to hire more people to teach sound design and music.
Then maybe the gap is to start a student organization that fills in that gap.
That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have like a tech musicians guild.
You
or
can
something.
start that. You can actually start that.
Well, and Scott created how's that music program,
I don't know. I don't.
Computer or Digital Music Association. Okay, so you should start, yeah, working with them.
Well, and then an experimental class, like we were talking about,
Yeah.
could provide
Mhm.
afford an opportunity for a musician like you to come in and start working on the idea. Now, you may not necessarily get instruction because there may not be someone to instruct you.
Yeah, but there's plenty of
But
resources.
there's plenty of resources.
Exactly.
Like George Sanger's book, The Fat Man. Have you ever heard of him? He's a legendary veteran game sound and music guy. He's the Fat Man, George Sanger. So yeah, I mean, you use your resources and your graduate students should know how to go out and find their own resources at this point. But then you would have an outlet, to practice your craft within an experimental environment with artists, designers.
Exactly. Because I specifically at the graduate level, I do not think that we need to have organized courses teaching music composition or teaching stuff like that. We need to have graduate seminars where we truly engage in experimenting, exchanging practices and skills and knowledge and developing things together. We need that in place. Yeah, we need to have a more open lab, and I fully agree to decide that this lab should be the digital poetry lab because it really looks like what we should be doing and really experimenting different type of expressions and
I like that idea.
mm-hmm.
I mean, because I've just even with my gap in technical ability, have been finding my own way around concepts of interactivity without having a video game environment. So I do a lot of video and projection, and then I'm always looking, and in the context of being immersive installation, that you experience sort of analog style, not through a joystick, but just analog. And through that, just looking for different ways to interact. And now I'm starting to lean towards some sort of a live performance that would incorporate. I talked to a young musician who makes sound that's really interesting and does poetry. And I'm going to talk to her about performing live. Although I don't want to be the sole controller of the environment, right? I would think that anybody experiencing the space could also participate in some way. And I'm not really sure what that's all going to look like now. It's just it's like seed infancy for me. But
yeah, well, I mean, you come from a video art background, and a lot of times in live music performance, there's someone very much like you controlling these video art animations and stuff. And I mean, someone like me really just needs, something to practice and play on the guitar, or, a reason to sing and play. And, I've kind of...
I think that poetry entails...
There's sound.
Yeah, so it's back.
It's just someone's... It's just probably someone's...
Maybe they didn't
Yeah.
have their
Maybe
speakers turned on.
their volume off.
I think there might have not been some in the beginning, though.
yeah.
There's
Okay, so we're back.
everybody regurgitate what they just said.
So my question was, what is the poetry core component of video games? Is it in the narrative, in the image, in the sound?
Well, ideally it should be all of it. And even the type of interaction that's required, the sounds, the images, the kind of movements, and all of that.
So gameless game can be considered like, I don't know, this kind of sort of interactive contemporary art pieces that you just really visual, just look awesome, and you just kind of enjoy it.
Sound.
Yeah, and sound awesome. Yeah, too. They sound awesome.
And
look
feel
awesome.
awesome.
And feel exactly.
Because there are some games, and I've not been playing a lot of games, there's some games where there's really a nice sense of movement when you realize that these tiny movements that you're doing with the controller are creating this beautiful movement of someone else.
Bear in mind that, but yes, PS4 game, Flower,
Uh-huh.
game that comes with
Yeah,
it. And I mean, that game it's like, there's really no point. You just kind of, a leaf, and, floating through the top water. I guess there is a point. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, the thing I think that really aspect, but I just really enjoy the yeah.
I would argue that any component of video game, film, or any piece of art can be called poetry the moment it emotes. If it recalls an emotion, that's when it becomes poetry.
The moment it emotes.
Yeah.
Emotes, yes.
Creates an emotion.
Emotions.
Yeah.
I'd like to come back to my example of that, because I think it was really interesting. He was saying that basically what cinema invented was the invention of motion and time at the same time.
Yes,
Motion duration, we call it. Like music invent color and line. How you call it exactly. So I would be curious to know what video games invent. Is it a block of time or a block of emotion? Or something else? And that's come back to my earliest question, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Strobe. The Strobe is a French couple of filmmakers. that used to make sound that were the detached the image from the sound. And basically you have a kind of experience of something that will behave the image, but the voice is talking about something about the same thing. So I was wondering if there's any language that pertains to video games itself without making use of any cinematography.
Yeah, is there a specific
Is there a specific poetry that
pertains to video games, something?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably that combination of motion, images, and sound.
The interaction with player.
Yeah. Yeah, motion, and I mean
motion is
interactive motion, the response of the system to my movement. I think it's a large component of the specificity of video games. How my movements are translated into the visual universe of the game is very important.
Trying to find the counter idea. Well, what about live show, like theater?
Well, I'm not transmitting any movement to the scene. And
But you have that combination with other things.
yeah, but that's, to me, that's typical of the video games. That's the only place where the movement that you do is translated into another kind of movement.
So theater involves your own inspiration, that is part of the play and the story. It's kind of not even knowing how it's going to unfold. It's just like, however the audience reacts. I mean, it's very much pre-planned, where there's different tracks and different things. It's like sometimes the audience.
I'm part of one that. Dead White Zombies. It's Tom Sucher from the Image Program has an immersive theater event going on right now. It's every weekend, Friday and Saturday, sometimes Sunday, that you can go to deadwhitezombies.org and buy tickets. It's been largely sold out, so it's really neat. This time it's a sci-fi thing, but it's like you're definitely part of the experience. So I'm part of the check-in, the intake, if you will. Whatever role we play in that. Very small, but it's definitely an experience. Like, none of it. Have you been to it yet?
Not yet.
Well, it's my daughter's also being intake
Yeah,
for it. So
yeah.
So for you, if I understand well, this specificity of video game would be interaction.
Yeah, that way of transmitting movement from myself to something else in the universe of the game. That relationship between these two movements, I think, is typical. For example, I can be doing that and it's the way a bathroom switch. And what's beautiful also, what I think is interesting in the video games is that you can train yourself to become a bathroom and to swim with your hands. And that to me belongs to the universe of the video game and makes it specificity, is that the interaction is governed by a system of rules, it's repeatable and it's trainable. And you can actually achieve a level of expertise into transmitting your movements into another creature. And I think that's part of the beauty. And probably some aspect of the poetry of video games is just like fun poetry. Which means I'm just moving a little bit like this on the controller and there's something beautiful happening. But beautiful is not the thing that's happening or what I'm doing with my phone, but what is beautiful is the connection between these things. And the fact that it took me probably several hours to reach that level of mastery of the thing. So, yeah, probably it's more like something almost musical.
When you start going into the Kinect, and
Yeah.
Well, but the Kinect
those
is,
motions
and
and other inputs into the
but the
interface.
Kinect to me is less interesting.
Really?
And
I think it's more poetic because you're
no, because
the way you're.
it's too immediate. There's no mediation. What's beautiful is the mediation. So if I do that and it does that, okay, I can get better at doing that, but then there's nothing happening. But if I do that with my friends and there's something really amazing happening, and I can perfect the way it's happening by just perfecting that little movement, to me I feel like here we have something interesting.
It's like converting the example and moving
Yeah, yeah. There's a translation. There's something that goes on. There's something really rich to me, and I'm saying that because that's Sherry Segovia's dissertation on the interface in video games. So, PhD student of mine made her dissertation on that, and obviously she had to write a chapter saying, okay, this kind of interaction with the controller is to me more interesting than direct interaction with the creator, something like this, because of that level of translation that is implied into it. And that really performs that thing which is that necessary detachment between yourself and what is represented. And that creates that distance. And it's within that distance, okay, it's not me directly moving, there's a distance, there's a technological distance, there's a media-based distance, and that makes it for a rich representation, I think. And I think that is the specificity of games. And probably the poeticity of games, the specific one relies here on how you create these relationships in movements. In the images, the sounds and stuff like that, you will always import poeticity or whatever you name it from other media, from film, from music and stuff like that. But you will create something really specific to games.
So does it rely on the part and the tool?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's very much dependent
So
on.
if you remove it, then you remove
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Live.
And it's also, yeah, it's also live on YouTube.
Well, I mean, it is live and it's okay, but let's see, what's the topic? So just so I can go down.
So the topic, the initial topic was gameless games. Yeah, gameless games and videoless games. So means so gamesless games, so we spent quite a lot of time and it was silenced for whatever reason defining what we call gameless games. And basically everyone agreed more or less in saying that gameless games were games where the main goal is not to perform or to accomplish a mission, but it was more based on contemplation and other dimension and not directly to action. And videoless games would be video games where the act of seeing is less important than traditionally. So for example, video games for blind people, where there's nothing to it, but things to do, to listen to.
And actually, I forgot the question. I have a question. Anyway, do you think that the validation of video game as an art by the moment two or three years
Yes,
ago contributed to this emergence
probably.
of artistic trends?
Yes, probably. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the establishment in the arts started to acknowledge video games as artistic forms like 3 years ago, and that really opened up for this kind of gamers games and stuff like that.
The people felt more free
Uh-huh.
has been emancipated from the
Yeah.
I think user experience is a big factor. That's what
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that raises the question: could games maybe implement outside in order to get kids, more active?
Well,
With the Wii and the NES,
yeah,
I love the Wii.
and that, yeah, definitely, and that will be gameless, meaning less less time spent on games.
Exactly, but you're still playing a video game. Maybe it's a quick notification type of thing through a smartphone, but I mean that would really have to focus on the experience. Exactly. And I feel like certain aspects of play is lost when kids don't really go outside. We all probably do this
Mhm. Mhm.
I guess I'm still a child. I'm not out of 32 that it's not craft bandicoot or maybe something on the game. It's not visually appealing.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're basically a mongoose or a bandicoot. Exactly. 36 plus.
So, so your question was, you told your children, for example, not very specific, not the children, but those children spend a lot of time on a video game because of the user interface. That was the question.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
This change in play is maybe led to the whole, or is part of what's led to the whole now all high schools have computer programming. You know, as an elective or whatever, even when I was in high school, there was no computer programming. We were very career based. I mean, I got to, practice video and stuff,
Mhm.
and I learned, computer programming is still kind of like a very specialized expert type of thing. But I'm wondering maybe if, these past 10 years, say there is a large group of children that, and maybe so that now they have a need to program
And that's definitely going to put it more, those technologies more into the
And
hands
you
of
trust the way.
less big industry and more in the hands of individual artists. There's going to be some percentage of those creative kids that are just going to like make statements about it.
Yeah, and we need to.
Yeah.
I don't see it, Philip.
This one?
No.
Oh,
This is. Oh, yes.
oh, it's hair.
Yes.
I think we've gone over our time.
Yeah, we got over the time.
It's already 3.
All right.